What's cracking, everybody? You're here with me, King ETL, for a very special solo TV rundown. Now, you must be wondering, why is this solo? Well, due to scheduling things, I had to host this one by myself. Now, if you've seen the title and clicked on the video or clicked on the link because you're my friend and I'm thanking you for watching this video, you will see that this is a Voltron. But not the Nicktoons Voltron, not the 1980s Voltron, the very new Voltron that just came to Netflix in June, on June 10th to be exact. Now, I know what you're thinking, this is relatively new and I've never seen TV Rundown do something so new. Well, yeah, because I just finished it and I loved it. I loved every second of it. When I first heard of it coming on Netflix, I was like, okay, a new Voltron series, I like the Nicktoons one, let's watch it later. Never was gonna plan to. Then I was listening to a podcast by the Super Best Friends and I heard Matt talking about it. I was like, okay, a good review from somebody I respect. Then the artist Star Exorcist were talking about it on her Twitter. And I was like, oh, okay, there's even more hype for the show. Let's get into it. Let me give it a try. Watched the first, I think 3 or 4 episodes with my stepdad. Loved it. He loved it. We were both into the story. Now, without me giving any spoilers, this is going to be as spoiler-free as possible. Let's start this TV rundown.
Wonders of the universe, huh? It's got a nice ring to it.
DreamWorks Voltron, Legendary Defender.
In order to understand Voltron, it is very important to know that Voltron that aired in 1981, season 1 and 2 were both based off of an anime. The anime season 1 was based off of is called Beast King Go Lion. Very Japanese. And the second one that was based off of is Armored Fleet Agar XV. Took 2 years of Japanese and still can't read the hiragana. I'm a failure. Anyway, yeah, it was based off of anime, like a lot of stuff was. And the overall plot for Voltron has always been a fleet of 5 pilots, pilot not giant animatronics, but giant robot lions to form a giant fighting robot called Voltron that carries a lightsaber sword and fights bad guys. So you know what, I know what you're kind of thinking right here. 5 pilots who look like teenagers and robots that form a bigger robot. Power Rangers. But no, not exactly. Because one, Voltron has been animated. It had a few live action movies, but those were mostly in Japan. And Voltron actually came out 11 years before Power Rangers. So if you want to point fingers for ripping somebody off, you start pointing at the Power Rangers. But Voltron has always stuck with me more. I didn't watch much of the original 1980 series, but my mom always had a bunch of VHS tapes that I would watch like the Ninja Turtles kind of do. And I would watch and I always say, if we're being honest, everyone in America will say, okay, Voltron is animated Power Rangers and Power Rangers is just Power Rangers. But I always favored Voltron more because even though it still seemed and kind of felt like Power Rangers at times, because Voltron was animated, it was able to like explosions and like actual fight scenes where you'll say, oh, that actually hurt, that's not a fake explosion. Or you would see the giant robots and giant monsters and you can like visualize it more than a dude in a costume. And that's why personally I've always leaned more towards Voltron than I would a Power Ranger series, just like how most people lean towards Kamen Rider instead of Power Rangers. So, with the 11-year difference between Voltron and Power Rangers and getting a little bit more detailed background on what Voltron is overall, that started in 1981, I can take you to 2006. Voltron, Legendary Defenders. Not to be confused with the Nicktoons series Voltron Force. Voltron Legendary Defenders was produced by DreamWorks Animation Television and is currently airing on Netflix that you can look up right now and watch. It came out June 10th, 2016. Only has 11 episodes, kind of short. But there is a confirmed for season 2 to come out near the end of 2016. Now, before I continue this rundown, I just want to give a hand to DreamWorks Animation Television, because they have been on the top of their game when it comes to making stuff based off of DreamWorks movies. You have the How to Train Your Dragon series, the one that's on Netflix that I recommend, the one on Cartoon Network that I recommend. You have the Penguins of Madagascar series that was hilarious. You have the Kung Fu Panda series that's pretty good. There's a Puss in Boots series on Netflix. I've seen like a few episodes. It's not as funny as their movie, but it's still pretty good. There's a King Julian series on Netflix that's okay. I only seen one episode. And I'm just saying, DreamWorks is, when it comes to TV, they know what they're doing still, just like with their movies, which is why my little bit of this much hope for Trolls has slightly gone up. That much hope for Trolls, if you kind of see what I'm getting. But now, let's get back into Voltron. For a millennia, the evil Galra Empire, led by Zarkon, ruled the universe doing what normal space bad guys do, destroying planets, taking minerals, blah 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 blah. You know how space bad guys do space evil stuff. Now, he made the one mistake of destroying a planet named Altera. Altera was what held Voltron, the only thing known to ever defeat him. Voltron, of course, is the giant robot made by combining 5 different lions and their 5 pilots, who are called paladins. Now, the king of Altera, before it was destroyed, his name was King Alfor. And King Alfor sent his daughter, Princess Allura, and her servant Koran with the castles of lions, to a planet called Aris, or Aris. I think I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. And once they reached that planet, they were put into like a kind of like a, how do you say it? They went to sleep, but they were frozen, kind of like Fry from Futurama. They stayed in frozen sleep for 10,000 years. Now, while they were asleep, the castle, which was hidden from Zarkon, still had the Black Lion in it, but the rest of the lions were scattered throughout the universe. That way the Galra Empire could never get it and become ultimate powerful. And you know how whatever stuff is scattered across the universe, it's waiting for the next chosen ones. Just so happened, here they come. Oh, a new generation of paladins were formed, a group of pirates named Shiro, Keith, Lance, Pidge, and Hunk discovered the Blue Lion, and after they enter it, it takes them all through space, and they see these cool space things where they meet Princess Allura, and they find out that Zargon's next target is the Earth solar system, which kind of drags them into a 10,000 year war where they now have to find the lions, form Voltron, and basically beat them. Now, I don't want to spoil anything. That is the briefest thing I can give you, because this show is really good. The art style kind of reminds me of The Legend of Korra or Avatar, where it's like, you know, based off of anime, kind of American anime style. I like it. It has jokes. Now, this isn't a comedy, but it isn't like a drama either. It's action-packed, has dramatic, intense moments where you're actually like, oh gosh, oh no, are they going to be okay? Stuff like that. But when it has jokes, it has it just right. Like, one of my favorite scenes that I've saw, it was, they're getting ready for, this isn't a big spoiler, so don't worry, but they're getting ready for a big, I think it was some kind of battle. And they were like, okay, how do we do this? Do we just go in, fire our lasers, and go pew, pew, pew? And then somebody was like, no, and by the way, the lasers go bang, bang, bang. And then another one goes, no, you're wrong, the lasers go pew, pew. And this literally goes on for a few minutes till the princess gets mad and says, we all stop acting like children. And it's really funny because it's like, there are teenagers, and I like seeing in type of things where the teenage or the kid characters that are now the heroes or now have powers tend to misuse them, like Ben 10 would. I like seeing that because it's like, you're giving them personality, and all these characters have personalities. The show is really good. It has plot points that you wouldn't think of, and Voltron isn't just like a trap card or a, you know, Joker where it just comes up and it's like, oh, okay, with someone Voltron, we can now beat the crap out of it. No, these people are new. They just learning how to form Voltron. They learning how to pilot, so it's not like Voltron is going to beat everybody in one punch like the super weapon the Legends have claimed it to be. It's still kind of, you know, them getting a feel for it. And they each have their own personalities, which tend to clash at times, like being in a group does. And it's all around good show. You should watch it. Now, before I start talking more, we need to go into the music parts of this. Now, I want to talk about the music, and part of the music is the main theme. The main theme of the show is really cool opening scene that I love, and it's composed by Alex Gurings. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but you know, here's your name and picture, Alex Gurings. Now, Alex here has done a lot of stuff. He has done scores for the Muppets, scores for the King Julian show I said was on Netflix. He's been around and he's a pretty good person. If you just listen to the main theme, you can see his talent right there. Now, the next person. Now, this overall score of the show was made by Brad Breek. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And he's done scores for shows like We Bare Bears, Stars vs. the Forces of Evil, Gravity Falls. He's done a lot of really cool background music for shows. And I enjoy it based on what I've heard and all the shows I've watched. And the very next person who adds an additional score is Brian Parkhurst. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's also worked on Gravity Falls and We Bare Bears and of course Voltron. And they're all pretty cool people that make pretty good music. Now, I've told you about the characters, I've told you about the show. Let's get into the voice actors of the characters. Now, for our characters, I'm only going to do the main cast, which is our hero group. The 5 paladins, the princess, and her servant. You know, so you can get into the show and get a feel for everybody, like who you're listening to, so you'll understand our heroes a bit more, and I encourage you to watch it. That's also why. So, to start it all off, our Princess Allura is played by Kimberly Brooks. Now, you might recognize her voice because she played I can never say the name, and I'm sorry, Malshite in Steven Universe, Kelly in Sanjay and Craig, Amanda Cage in the Spider-Man Ultimate series, no, not the futuristic one, but what's it called, Ultimate Avenger Spider-Man or whatever, the new Disney XD series. Then her servant Coran is played by Rise Darby. I like the name Darby, JoJo reference. Anyway, he plays Mitch on Harvey Beaks, Terry in Mike Tyson's Super Show, and Norm in Yes Man. Now, let's get into our paladins. As to our first paladin, we have Shiro, who is voiced by John Keaton. He plays the young Hercules in the Hercules Disney movie. He plays Spyro in the Skylanders video game. And he has played Dick Grayson in the Batman Arkham Origins game. Really cool stuff. Next. Our next paladin we're going to talk about is Hunk, who is voiced by Tyler Labine. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong. He played Dale in Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, and he also played Rob Franklin in Ross the Planet of the Apes. You know, the guy that spread the disease that killed us all. Thanks, Tyler. Next is Lance, who is voiced by Jeremy Shada. Now, you might recognize his voice. He's Finn from Adventure Time, and I can kind of hear it when I go back and rewatch the show. He also plays Gene Francis in Team America World Peace. I've never seen him, but people say it's funny. And he plays Pug in Paranorman. Our next paladin is Keith, who is voiced by Steve Yeun. Probably pronouncing that wrong, and I'm sorry. He plays Glenn Rhee in The Walking Dead. Probably pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry. And just to say sorry in advance, because I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Ken Haishu, or something, in Law and Order Los Angeles. Finally, the last paladin I'm going to talk about is Pidge, who is voiced by, again, sorry, Brex Taylor Claus, who, that's a really interesting name. I kind of like the Claus part related to Santa. Horrible joke, I'm sorry. Anyway, she plays Sin and Arrow. She plays Bullet in The Killing, and she plays Teresa and iZombie. Now, I've talked about the show, the history, the characters, the plot, all that jazz. I even went into the music for you as per tradition of a TV rundown episode. I would just like to thank once again Star Exorcist and Matt McMuscles from Super Best Friends for recommending this to everyone on their social medias, because this is worth watching. The show is good. It has like a heavy, it's kind of like this was made in honor of Legend of Korra of Avatar, because you get that vibe when you're watching it, but a space theme vibe. And I usually don't like many space shows other than Doctor Who. But in conclusion, watch it. It's a really cool show, really awesome, and that's all I have to say. Voltron Legendary Defenders, and that was a TV rundown brought to you solo by me, King ETL. Please don't copyright us, Netflix. We love you. One more thing I would like to say before the bloopers start and the video is over is talking about our social medias that I'm going to have listed in the description. You have @order_insanity for the main channel. You got King_ETL for my personal Twitter. You got the Order of Insanity Facebook page. Those are stuff that we often go on and give updates and talk to you. And we're trying to talk to the audience. I know most of the audience is my friends and family, but we do occasionally get a few new viewers or strangers that I've never met before. And I want to talk to you guys. How do you feel about different shows or different movies or stuff, or what I could do for my video? So go on there. You don't even have to like us, but just like occasionally look at it. There might be a poll up if you want to vote for it. There might be something funny you want to add in, or even criticism if the video is bad, what I can do to make it better. Whatever, guys, is up to you. Thank you everyone that watches the video. On with the bloopers. 3, 2. What's cracking, everybody? You hear me, King ETL, for a very special solo TV rundown. Now, this is the very first TV rundown I've ever done solo, so I had to do all the research myself, all the script writing myself, of course, all the editing, blooper it. Trying again for the third time. And 3. What's cracking, everybody? You're here with me, King ETL, for a very special solo TV rundown. Now, you're must TV rundown. Rundown.